All right, let's talk about something you probably use every single day, but think about, well, almost never. Not until it breaks, anyway. I'm talking about your garage door. I mean, think about it. It really is the biggest moving part of your house. It's this giant, heavy wall that just, poof, magically lifts up whenever you push a button. It's an amazing piece of engineering that we all completely take for granted. And when it does fail, oh man, suddenly you're trapped inside your garage or you're stuck outside in the rain. It is so frustrating and it can throw your entire day off track. So in this explainer, we're going to give you a clear game plan, what you can check yourself, when to back away, and what to expect when you finally have to call for help. Okay, let's start with the easy stuff, the simple wins that could actually save you a service call. Before you start to panic, there are a couple of super common things you can check in, like 60 seconds flat. First up, and I know this sounds almost too simple, but check the batteries in your remote. You would be surprised how many service calls are just for that. If new batteries don't do the trick, look down by the floor on either side of the garage door opening. See those little boxes? Those are your safety sensors. They shoot an invisible beam across the opening, and if a stray box, a broom, or even just some leaves are blocking that beam, the door will not close. A quick wipe with a cloth or just moving the object out of the way can be an instant fix. So, what if the door moves, but it sounds absolutely awful, like it's screaming? That grinding, squealing noise is just friction, metal scraping on metal. You might be tempted to lubricate the rollers and hinges, and you can. But listen, this is really important. You have to use the right stuff. You want a silicone or a lithium-based lubricant. Please avoid WD-40. It actually attracts dust and grime and can make the whole problem worse over time. Now, if a little lube solves the noise, fantastic. But if it's still loud or the door is moving in a jerky way, stop. Just stop. That's a sign you're dealing with a much bigger issue. And that brings us to, without a doubt, the most important part of this whole conversation. This is the moment where you need to put down any tools you have, take a big step back, and really understand that you are now dealing with parts that are under an immense, and I mean dangerous, amount of tension. And look, I'm not trying to be dramatic here. There are a few very specific problems where trying to be the hero can lead to catastrophic failure. We're talking major property damage, or even worse, you could get seriously hurt. This is where you absolutely positively must stop. So let's be super clear about what these red flags are. These are the non-negotiable pick up the phone and call a pro situations. Number one, a broken spring. Look up at that big coiled spring above the door. If you see a clear gap in it, that's it. Call someone. Two, a bent or misaligned track. If the metal trucks the door runs on look crooked or damaged, don't touch it. And three, an opener that just hums or clicks but does nothing. That usually means there's a problem with the motor or the internal computer. Let's just focus on that spring for a second, because it is by far the most dangerous part of the whole system. You see, a torsion spring isn't just a spring. It is a tightly wound piece of metal that is storing a terrifying amount of potential energy. It's the whole reason a small motor, or even you, can lift something so incredibly heavy. Just to give you some perspective on the forces we're dealing with here, we're talking about 300 to 400 pounds for a standard double garage door. When one of those springs breaks, all of that stored energy is released violently. The special tools used to wind them can literally become projectiles. It is not a situation where you want to guess. If you see that gap in the spring, just stop. And the other red flags, they're just as serious. A bent track puts all this weird stress on the lifting cables. If one of those cables slips off its pulley, the entire weight of the door can come crashing down in an instant. And the opener itself, it's not a simple motor anymore. It's a little computer. You could get an electric shock, or you could easily fry the main logic board, turning what might have been a simple repair into a much more expensive replacement. Okay, so you've identified a red flag, and you've made the smart call to bring in a professional. Great. But what should you actually expect? To get a better idea, we looked at how a typical company structures its services, using a Houston-based business as a quick case study. A pricing structure like this really helps you see what you're paying for. For about $100, you're getting prevention, an expert checking for problems before they happen. That $150 price point for an emergency call, that's the price for speed, for getting someone out there right now. And those bigger price jumps for a new opener or a whole new door, that's reflecting the cost of complex, smart technology and all the labor that goes into it. So, zooming out from that one example, what should you be looking for in any company you call? Number one, always get a free estimate with clear upfront pricing. No surprises. 2. Look for guarantees that cover not just the parts, but the workmanship. That's a huge sign of confidence. And if you need help fast, look for 24/7 availability. It shows they're a serious operation. And this really brings us to our final and probably most important point. We've spent all this time talking about how to react when things go wrong, but the smartest play is to avoid the problem in the first place. I mean, when you see it laid out side by side like this, the choice is pretty obvious, right? That $99 checkup is a small, planned expense that buys you peace of mind. It's about catching that cable when it's starting to fray before it snaps. The emergency calls starts higher and can go way up from there. It's a stressful, unplanned hit to your bank account that ruins your day. One is a smart investment, the other is just expensive damage control. So here's the real takeaway. That first little squeak or groan your garage door makes, it's not just an annoying sound. It's a warning sign. And when you think about the small cost of a simple maintenance checkup versus the huge cost and headache of a full-blown emergency repair, it really leaves you with one last question to think about. What's the real cost of ignoring that first squeak?